Abstract. Psychological, the science that deals with the mental process and behavior, the emotional and behavior characteristic of an individual, a group, or those engaged in a given activity. Psychological is something that relates to mind or mental action. To the people who have experienced things that kind of disease, it's not joke for them because it's not easy to have a physiological mental. These people who have a kind of disease, we need to check in the people who know about that or consult with the psychologist to we know what to do. Always be there, and if you need us, always be there.
Introduction. The advent of global crisis has impacted most people the entire globe, brought by the universal pandemic. The economy, private corporation, the religious activities, and people's different activities which affected their job and their families. It seems like everything stops and everyone experienced extreme famine and brought fear, anxiety, and worrisome which greatly affected humans' physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and psychological and its entire well-being. Psychological or mental aspect of human being has become prevalent concern in time of crisis brought by the pandemic. The downturn of the economy and the loss of the higher percent of job became the reason for generation of the people's anxiety which lead to depression, affecting greatly one's mental health or condition. The education sector is one of the most affected departments all throughout the world has also viewed the learners are also vulnerable in the impact of global pandemic. Their physical, mental, social, spiritual aspect may have been affected by the lead of serious mental health problems. This is why many organizations from the different sectors have been already provided and endorsed several measures that might minimize the emotional impact derived from this scenario. It is crucial that the health authorities, the government, and the population articulate to assist the vulnerable groups to promote emotional and psychological support strategies. Moreover, this is fundamental that the population is provided with accurate information concerning the COVID-19 pandemic. In this research study seeks to determine the importance of psychological concern webinar for grade 11 student in Muntinlupa National High School, Maine.
Statement of the problem. The purpose of this type of study can either be phenomenological grounded theory, ethnographic case, etc. Study is to understand, describe, develop, discover. What indicate the central phenomenon of the study? Of who or what indicate the participant? Involved being general definition of the central concept. From when to purpose, especially this study servant to answer the following question. Number 1. What are the improvements in grade 11 student behavior after they attend seminar or webinar? Number 2. How do students cope up and acknowledge what they learned from seminar?
Definition of terms. The following terminologies were described conceptual and operational within setting of this study. Psychological, mental or emotional rather than physical, after a shock, your problems, and even your physical pain. Anxiety means your body's natural response to stress. It is a feeling of fear or oppression about what's to come. Vulnerable means susceptible or physical or emotional attack or harm. Webinar. A webinar is a combination of web and seminar, which means conducted using the web or internet than virtual due to the pandemic. Pandemic. A pandemic is defined as an epidemic occurring worldwide or over a very wide area, crossing international boundaries and usefully affecting the large number of people. The classical definition includes nothing about population immunity and disease. Method. The researcher had an interest to study the importance of psychological concern webinar for grade 11 student in Muntinlupa National High School. The researcher are planning to have a Google form to make a survey for grade 11 student. This will use grade 11 student of MNHS Maine as participant and respondent. through the responses of grade 11 student of MNHS Maine to the survey from the researcher will analyze it. Last, after the researcher analyzed the result of data, the researcher can finally maintain and improve the psychological concern webinar into better for the grade 11 student, absorb the lesson of webinar and apply it to themselves. Design. A research design is created to gather and analyze new data in order to interpret existing facts in new ways. Making adequate arrangement for systematic research activity is part of research design preparation process. It is a qualitative research that focuses on phenomenological study to solve the phenomena that was experienced by the grade 11 student from Muntinlupa National High School, Maine. Data or information were collected through answering the Google form provided. Participant, this study must have selected 10 grade 11 student of MNHS Maine as participant and responded to the survey form of this study. Through the participant, the study will much be stronger and valid because of the response of the participant about the importance of psychological concern webinar for grade 11 student.
This study was conducted to psychological concerns, especially to grade 11 students in Muntinlupa National High School, Maine. Collecting data should take some steps or procedures. The steps that we will do is to give and check our instruments, plans, and procedures on how we could collect the data to our teacher. If our instruments, plans, and procedures will be approved, we will now search some grade 11 students who wants to participate with us. We will first discuss to them what they should do about the link that they will answer and will be informed about the purpose of this study. They should answer it honestly. We will also emphasize that their identity and privacy will be ensured and their answers to the link will be confidential to others. Once they agreed about our purpose, we will send to them the link of the questionnaire and wait for the result. Then after we get the result, we will now create data about the result and which of the questions had the most voted and agreed. Collecting data procedures takes some steps and procedures before we get the information or evidence that we will use to collect the data. We will seek permission to our teacher and to the people who wants to participate with us. It is a little bit difficult for us, especially now there is a pandemic, but still we should do our best just to get the information and evidence in collecting the data of our study. Thank you.
Data analysis. At this point, the data will be analyzed by the researcher. By analyzing the data, one can combine its content. The researcher used phenomenological study because it's commonly described the phenomena as they manifest their experiences. Phenomenological study help us to understand the meaning of people's life experiences. The researcher conduct an online survey through Google Form, a digital platform since we're still facing the new normal because of the pandemic. Researcher are sample of response of selected respondent.
As a result, the researcher used a research questionnaire through a Google form for the respondents. In the data, gathered 10 students responded to the questionnaire, wherein 8 responses are agree while 2 respondents are uncertain. As a result, 80% of respondents are willing to participate in the psychological seminar and webinar because it has a good impact for the respondents' mental health status, and 20% are undecided if it is really important to them. Based on the researchers' finding, students are willing to participate in this kind of activities, but they have not enough resources. According to the one respondent, attending seminars about mental states leaves a positive impact and control his or her emotion and anxieties, while the other respondent's response is that he or she has idea yet what is A because she doesn't not attend any of these kind of seminars.
Conclusion. Therefore, based on discussion and recommendation, the researcher conclude that psychological webinar must be free and provided by the school or specific organization. Government should also play a vital role to help schools organization and to arrange this seminar come true for students by providing Wi-Fi or mobile hotspot, motivational speaker, psychologist or counselor, an exclusive area for students to listen and program that promotes the importance of good mental health condition for everyone.
Pre-biological webinars per student. Not all students have enough money to sustain their other expenses, including seminars, activities, or etc. School or organization must have offered free webinars and seminars. School must include seminars about mental health and learning. The students learn different things, such as academic knowledge about the universe, technologies, and innovation. But the sad reality is that students or teenagers are very prone to the chronic stress due to poor mental health and toxic life they are in. That's why students need this attention for them to prevent from breaking down. Attending must be required once in a week. Check-up for student interview through the help of guidance counselor. All schools have a guidance counselor to guide students, not only who are the ones involved in riot or fight, but always to students who under several challenges or problems and they need a person who will listen to them. Interesting fun activities for students to get interested for this type of seminars. The organization must prepare fun activities to get their attention and be excited in attending. Upgrade Wi-Fi and provide mobile hotspot for students, of course, attending. Only seminar in need to have an internet connection for students to listen. One studio room exclusive for students to watch and listen motivational speakers. A space should be provided as well. One room or one exclusive for seminars so that the students are focused and can concentrate for what they're hearing.